If we stick to his rules, the world will run fine. If we go off doing things our own way, we end up with the world that we have today, where there is such a disparity between the rich and poor, suffering. If you run out of money, you end up at the bottom of society. If you have enough money, you sort of end up in the middle. And if you have grandiose amounts of money, you end up, I guess, at the top of the material society. It's important to realize once a person gets more money than they can spend in their whole lifetime, they get to be a point where they need something to do to entertain themselves. So they play various games that the very rich play, and these are usually power games, where they try to gain more power.
And again, they're acting like God.
And again, in their own right, they're acting like God. More power you get, the more godlike you are, and I guess the better person you are, and maybe put upon yourself the right to have more entitlements than anybody else, and control more people's lives than anybody else. God allowed people to have money in the beginning, provided that they wouldn't use it to lord it one over the other. And this rule has obviously been broken in our society, where people use their money to overpower or control others. And that was the primary command that God gave, was not to do this with money.
So going back to this fallen nature and the idea of end times, though, why is God is essentially saying, if he's allowing end times to actually appear on the horizon, he's actually going back to Noah and saying, like, I don't agree with you any longer. I don't agree with mankind's aspirations, and that I feel I have to put an end to this godlike aspiration of mankind.
Well, what's important to realize is God has given us all free will for people to choose God or perhaps materialism or the world. God, in his love, is going to allow mankind to experience the world as though the rich and powerful of this world, the very rich and very powerful of this world, have a chance to play God, and who's ever left on earth will have the opportunity to experience what it's like to be lorded over by these people. This has a lot to do with free will, and when people begin to realize what kind of world that is, they'll have a choice as to whether they like it that way or not. What we are told in the Bible is about the world at that time is that people will become lovers of themselves, lose the true meaning of Christianity, wear it like a cloak, lose love for one another, become harder and harder and harder in their hearts, and thinkers only of themselves and their own aspirations, while at the same time in the life that they lead trying to be God too. So God's just going to allow this to happen and see whether or not they get tired of being God or not. Maybe I presume that the people who want God to be God will turn their hearts to him during this period, and the ones that are happy to be with the way things are won't. And this is where we come to sin, which is primarily an antichrist sin of trying to be God, which was the original sin, coming into fruition to those who wish to continue to be a God, against those who wish to continue to change their mind or repent and come back to God.